What's going on, guys? Back with a new build. This time we're going to be completely redoing my high trail. Now, I'm going to be honest, I haven't really used this thing all that much, and it was one of those things where I kind of had buyer's remorse after I bought it. This thing just kind of sat around for a while. I tried to make it better by putting an interior and a driver in there that's 3D printed, but I never really did much with it. Cut to a little bit later, I bring this thing to the beach. There's a little track there that me and my friends go to, and this thing, I give it to a little kid to play with. I'm like, hey, he's like, I've always wanted to try a crawler. I'm like, no doubt, I got you. I let him use it. This kid doesn't know how to use crawlers and is just full throttle all the time, and is just launching this thing off of the obstacles that I put down, making this thing tumble over. It's got scuffs everywhere. They don't really show up on camera, but you can see them a lot better in person. This thing is beaten to hell. Pretty nasty one on the glass there. So, got a bad one right there. This thing's pretty bashed to hell. And I want to do something with this truck, and I think I'm going to do it. Endura came out with this really cool, what they call the IR60. If anyone knows your trucks, you know that this is an earlier Hilux, which looks amazing. Look at how small it is compared to the square body Chevy. Very small. Which is accurate, because these would be smaller. I absolutely love it. I'm not normally a fan of black. I don't really like flat black, especially. It gets dusty and dirty way too quickly. But I think it works for this build. I like the white and the red. Nice accents there. So what I'm going to do is swap everything over to this 3D printed chassis. I'm just going to make it sit a lot lower. Now this truck is meant for a regular Trx4m, and I do have regular links and drive shafts coming in the mail that are metal. So let's get to that. Some progress here. We got the skid getting bolted on. Pretty cool, pretty cool. I'm going to get both of these sides bolted on and then just keep working my way through that. That's not too bad. Alright, well, things kind of derailed really quickly with this project. My idea was to just put it on a different chassis, change the links and everything. I got the links in the mail, but the chassis and everything is not great. I can't mount the battery anywhere, or the ESC. It's a pain in the ass, and this chassis just does not want to function. It doesn't want to work. So instead, we got this nice, very nicely priced, by the way, on sale for $22, carbon fiber chassis. That is going to be way better and way easier to work with. Okay, well, that's that. We've got the thing pretty much wrapped up. You could see metal drive shafts. We got the right drive shafts and everything. So we took our high trail, shortened it, so it's not really a high trail anymore, and we made it way more capable with the lighter body, and we made it something really cool. At least in my opinion, we made it really, really cool. That'll wrap it up for this video, but I do have more plans for this thing down the road. I am looking into a lay-down servo conversion for this thing. Some of the issues with this body is that that piece there is hitting the mount when this thing flexes, and same with the servo. It's hitting the hood when this thing articulates, and it's probably because I have the ride height down a lot more, but I want to keep this thing low like a belly dragger, so I'm gonna just work on a conversion kit that will probably fix that. So yeah, that's been Dig Dug 2.0, and I couldn't be happier with this thing. Alright, so there's been a lot of work done since the last update. It's been a couple weeks now, and I want to show you guys how Dig Dug has been looking. I painted it. The paint is still kind of tacky, so I have to be careful. I just painted it today, early this morning, and I managed to get a bunch of stuff where I didn't have to touch the paint onto it, and it's drying relatively good. It's Rust-Oleum, part of their military set that you can get. It's like a whole box set you can get with like olive drab green, desert tan, a brown. It's a pretty good set you can get for pretty good money. I think it's still around. I think you could still get it, but I've had that set for a while, and I just used it to paint the body, because I was going to leave this thing black, but I saw so many people on Instagram and everything were all posting their builds, and they were all like the silver one and the black one, and I'm like, yeah, mine just kind of blends in. I want to do something different, and I did. I know this build has been kind of all over the place, but yeah. This thing, I think, looks awesome now. Last thing is going to be the mirrors. I have to figure out how to attach them, because they're kind of being a pain. They don't snap in all the way, and I got to figure out something to do with those. But I could show you guys what I've done. For one thing, it now has the Mini Bananas wheels and tires, the Black Label MTs, which I swapped over the, I think I had the Mudslingers on here, to the Mini Bananas. Now it looks more like its 1/10 scale counterpart, where it has the, I have the massive Mudslingers on that one. The inspiration behind this desert tan color was the WPL C14. Believe it or not, I was looking at a picture of one of those when I was just looking online for cheap RCs for that one video, and I just kind of kept looking at it. I've seen them for a while. I didn't really want to buy one, but I was like, you know, what if I just made a littler RC that looks kind of similar? And since I have this body, why not? You know, it works. We put the Endura 59mm shocks with the flex extenders, so this thing flexes like crazy now. The front is a little bit of an interesting story, so I'll go ahead and pop this and show you. So you may notice that it does not have the flex blade in the front. It does have them down low. The problem I was having is that I can't put them on because that's where the chassis bolts up. The shock was coming out to about here, which would have been cool, but it wasn't really working because it was hitting these bolts, and I can't take these bolts out. That's the structure of the chassis. That's what bolts this whole thing together. So I can't take those out, obviously, and bolt that there. It didn't really work. So instead, we just opted to just not run the front flex extenders and just have them down low, and have the rear ones be super articulated. This thing articulates really, really well, and it's stiff enough to the point where it's not gonna like go crazy, at least I don't think. Like the front definitely can flex a lot more, but it's not to the point where this thing's gonna go like really, really high and just make it tip over, and I think that's good. It's almost like working like a limiter strap, which I think works really, really well. I wanted the rear to articulate like crazy, so I think that works out pretty well. That's what I have on the Warthog, my SCX24 Warthog, the Halo Warthog. I have the front where it's limited, but the rear is not limited at all. There's no limiting straps on there, and that works really, really well, at least with the Gladiator style wheelbase that this has. So that's kind of what I did with this. I still have more upgrade parts to get for this thing, but it will be a comp crawler. This thing will compete eventually. Do have these crawler gears for the transmission. I was going to see if I could put the Mini Bananas 370 motor and ESC combo, because that has a amazing slow crawl from the factory on that thing, but unfortunately the motor's too big. It will hit that support beam right there. So that's a bummer, but we will find another way to slow this thing down because it's way too fast. It doesn't crawl. But yeah, can you believe this? The transformation that this thing has undergone. We turned it into something that looks really, 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 really cool. And I'm glad that I documented the whole thing. So, we've had some misfortunes, we had some mess ups, but this is it so far.